Hey everyone, we're into Come Follow Me again. This is section 45. And yes, I'm back home, not being rained on, not getting my hair blown everywhere. No wonder I brought it inside, right? And you can hear me properly. And although I don't have beautiful rose gardens in the background, this is all good too. And you're not really here for the scenery, you're here for the inspiration, right? Yeah, sure, okay. That's what I tell myself anyway. All right. So section 45 is interesting. This is when they just arrive at Ohio, at the Ohio. Um, and, you know, you think tabloids now are bad and fake news is bad, but fake news back then was pretty bad too. So they arrive in Ohio. There's an earthquake, series of earthquakes that kill a couple of thousand people, I think, over in China. And the local newspaper reports that the earthquake was caused by Mormonism. Right? I know, right? Fake news alert. But people believed it. And that wasn't the only one. There was a lot of things that were being said in the newspapers to put people off investigating the gospel. And of course, Satan's going to do that, and he still does. I think all of us at some point have seen some negatory, misled, untruth article in a news section, whether it's a newspaper or a broadcast or whatever. And like we know that it's not true. Certainly, Mormonism is not going to cause an earthquake in China. I think we're pretty good at getting prayers answered, but I don't think that's how it works, that one, and that's definitely not true. There's a lot of things that I know I could go through a lot of them, and I'm sure you've heard them, and I'm not going to. But anyway, section 45 comes because of all the stuff that's circulating. The Lord wants to clear up exactly who He is, what the plan is. This is kind of going on from section 25 where we talked about the plan. And then there's the law that also goes into it. That was last week. But section 45 is really good, but you need to really read it. If you want to get into it a lot doctrinally, read it with Matthew 24 and the Joseph Smith translation of Matthew 24. The three of them together and the wording all put together kind of make a complete jigsaw puzzle. There's also some verses you can include, and I'm going to talk about one of those in Daniel, and that clears up. Well, it doesn't clear up, but it defines what the Lord's talking about here in this revelation a lot better if you read all of them together. So that's really going to help. If you want to dive into it doctrinally, do that. Matthew 24, Joseph Smith translation of Matthew 24, and section 45 all sort of go together. All right. Now, we're just going to go, though, to verse 7. It sort of comes in three sections here, and that the Lord again defines who He is, talks about like what He said to His disciples on the Mount of Olives, and then He basically says, so I'm telling you guys the same things. In 1831, I believe we're in. Yeah, 1831. I was right. Yeah. So, this is 190 years ago. Oh, I don't know. I can't do math like that. It's too hard. I could have had paper. But anyway, it's a long time ago, but it still applies to us. So, what He told the disciples back in Jerusalem on the Mount of Olives, told everybody those things, same things apply to us. Okay, we're going to go to verse 7, which says, and verily I say unto you that I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the light and the life of the world. A light that shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehendeth it not. Now, interestingly, behind me, I still have, there, oh, you can see, there we go. It says, it's young Kaiser, it says, carry the light of Christ. Because in the darkness, you need that light. So, I liked it in that I was thinking, always, no matter what circumstance, Jesus Christ is our guiding light. Now, I've got a really cool experience around that. Takes too long to do here. I'm going to write that up as a story and maybe try and get it published. It's really good. But yeah, carry the light of Christ with young Kaiser up here when she was 9. It's a long time ago. Darkness comprehendeth it not. I like that. And that I want to say, you think it's dark at night. Like, I went out this morning, early this morning at 2 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. Just not anxiety. Mind's turning over. And I could still see quite clearly by moonlight. And that's what inspired me, these nails as well. You can see there. Oh, no, not really. What about if I do that? Oh, there we go. Anyway, was this whole thing because Although at night time, people think that's dark. It's not dark. It's actually, you can see quite a lot. And I think you know that even if you live out of the city and there's like no light pollution from different buildings and street lights, you can see a lot by the moon and the stars. Even if there's not, you can still see. It's not darkness. That's just the absence of light, and it's not the absence of complete light because you still have the light from the moon, the light from the stars. So think of a photography darkroom, because I do photography and I've worked in a darkroom now. If you're going to a darkroom photography, you have to have everything laid out and you do it by feel, because literally you can do this, can't see a thing, can't see your face right in front of your, I can't see your hand right in front of your face. Can't see your face. Because you can't see your face, there's no mirror in there. But yeah, it's just darkness, right? And that's more what they're talking about. And when you put the light in there, it it's terrible with photography to add light. It's like, and everyone freaks out when you're doing that in a dark room. Anyone that's been in a dark room, or if you've seen that happen, we don't want light in there. Light in the dark room is bad because it exposes the film and blacks it all out and ruins the photos that we've worked so hard to take. A little different with digital. So for a lot of younger viewers, they probably won't know what I'm talking about. But a dark room is completely dark. And that darkness doesn't comprehend when a light happens. It shrinks back, it disappears, and it's like, And that's what he's talking about here. When the light of Christ comes into a dark place, it could be this big, and it will make that entire room of darkness shrink back. And that's what that photo was up there, based on the scripture. Darkness comprehendeth it not, and it carry the light of Christ. Because as long as you've got the light of Christ with you, you're going to know where to go. It is going to guide you, no matter what your circumstances. And that's a really dark place. Actually, that's right here in this lounge. We just made it really dark. But no matter what your circumstance, Jesus Christ is your guiding light. You can also think of it as a torchlight, and that, if we're going to go camping or we're buying one for our survival pack, we get the one that has the most bells and whistles and goes like the longest distance and going to last the longest, or is rechargeable, or whatever's going to suit us the best, because we want that light in our lives, because it's going to mean so much to us. So think of it like that too. And that when you're using that in the dark doesn't comprehend it. It just goes and disappears, right? Shrinks back from it. Doesn't fill that space. Light fills that space. Light will always fill that space. And that's what Jesus Christ does. So, the quote from Elder Uchtdorf on this one is a really nice one. And I know I always say that, but I look long for these quotes. So, anyway, he said, "No matter how often or how far we fall, the light of Christ ever burns brightly. And even in the deepest night, if we but step toward him, his light will consume the shadows and reignite our souls." Isn't that beautiful? Because we just need to step towards that light. We need to carry that light, like young Kaiser is up there. Carry the light, and it will consume the shadows. It just takes over and reignites our souls. And that's what Jesus Christ does. No matter what the circumstance, he is our guiding light. So that's the first one for this week. First insight this week. I'm going to move on to number 2. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit.